Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Hope everybody is doing well today. I want to welcome you to WiNUP.org, our first chapter admin session. I want to let you know that at any point, please don't hesitate to ask a question. Currently, everyone is on mute, so you will have to unmute yourself or feel free to send your question in the chat. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Hillary Sheffer. I am with the Ohio chapter, and I am currently the 2020 International Website Committee Chairman, and really focusing on the guidelines for the website, but also learning about the website, just really learning what all this new website provided by Club Express will provide for us. So I really want to get in and show you some of the advantages that we have as individual chapters on that. But to get us started, so this is really kind of the agenda for this afternoon. I am recording this session, so if you know of somebody who was not able to attend, I will be posting these and I will let everybody know when the recording is available. I will start off with a safety and a cultural moment. If any of you were attended our general membership session on Tuesday, it's the same safety and cultural moment, but I will start that out. We will do kind of an overview of the site from a chapter admin's perspective. We'll talk a little bit about logging in, again, from the admin perspective, submitting information such as newsletters, photos, documents, and just how the site is really set up. And I also want to focus a good chunk of our time on the communication feature that the site offers us and just how that works. And we'll go into some aspects there because it is a great tool for communicating out to your members. So first of all, for safety and culture, with everything that's going on right now, I don't know if anybody has changed their plans for Thanksgiving. I myself was supposed to travel to my brother and his wife's house for Thanksgiving, but have decided to stay home due to the numbers here in Franklin County, Ohio, where I live. But really, it's that wearing of our mask, washing the hands, that social distancing, really try to take care of yourself as we are battling this pandemic and we're coming into flu season and just everything else, as well as winter, where we'll be inside most of the time. On the other hand, as far as culture, I also want to encourage you to stay connected because it will help. Doing things like virtual gift exchanges. Thank goodness for Amazon. What would we do without it, right? But doing a virtual gift exchange or just going on Amazon and sending a friend a little, hey, I'm thinking of you gift. All you have to do is know their address, right? Do FaceTime coffee hours or virtual happy hours. Just any type of way to stay connected. I will throw out there, does anybody have any other ideas that they've either thought about doing or have done with either family, friends, or coworkers? Virtual game nights, that's a good one. Yeah, so that's another good one. Well, let me go ahead and go into the site. There we go. And I will, give me just a second to flip over to the site. Actually, I'll just come out of here. There we go. Bring up my browser. And as we all know, just WiNUP.org will take you to our site. Anyway, so WiNUP.org will take you to the site. And as chapter admins, I want to help you to understand that the way the site is built information really can be displayed in a number of different ways. It could be displayed to the general public, so anybody who hits our site can see it. It can be set up so information is displayed only to our members. It could be also set up so that information is only displayed to certain key groups, a particular committee type of thing. So it really has a lot of that type of security and capability on the site. So I do strongly recommend that you have all your members always sign in so that they not only make sure that they are seeing everything, not only that's open to the public, but the stuff that is open to members as well. And in some cases, we're able to offer different pricing on events. If you are charging for an event, you can charge a different price for members versus the public. So you want to make sure that they take advantage of that. So you can log in. One thing I do want to let you know, if you haven't recently logged in, there is always this forgot my username and password if you do need assistance with that. But I'm going to log in with a test account that Lisa, our executive director, has given me so that we can see what the typical chapter admin would see. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And one of the first things you should notice is the Join Us option now becomes a member section. So this menu is only available if you've logged in and are a member. As a chapter admin, you will also see this control panel up here. So if you are needing to make changes to your chapter's pages, or like I said, do the communications, organize your documents and things like that we're going to be taking a look at, you'll want to go under the control panel. Realizing that I can go to members and I can go to document section here, but this is how everybody would actually get to the information, not so much how you would upload or organize or create folders and things like that. So there's two ways to get into it. This is what I would consider kind of going in the front end, the way everybody would go to it. And as chapter admins, we have the ability to go to the back end of it where we can actually manipulate the information. Comments, questions about that? Okay. So if you haven't discovered already, and I'll just go to members documents, as a chapter, or each of the chapters do have 3 key document folders that they will utilize. We have our newsletters are in their own document folder. We have chapter documents, and we have chapter public information. The difference being is anything in the chapter public information and anything in the newsletter is automatically public content. So anybody who visits the site can see that. It also does require international approval. So when you submit your newsletters or submit a document in the public information to be displayed to everybody, you will need to notify you can contact Lisa, and she will either she will reach out to the chapter or the website committee, and we can go in and approve those documents. The chapter documents, every chapter has their own, and you'll only see the ones you have access to. Excuse me. But each chapter does have their own folders, and this is where you can store your chapter's information, and it's only available to your members. So anything in the chapter documents is automatically restricted to just members. You can also create folders that are specific to a subcommittee if you have the need to do so. Don't know. Oh, there's what. So, for example, here I have access to the West Virginia. Under this test account, they do have a document in here in their folder. You can also create subfolders, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. Any questions about the difference between the public folders and the private or member-only folders? You can chat, type it in chat, or unmute yourself and ask the question. So I got to this document structure, again, going under the member section. So that's only if I'm going to access something that's already there. Let's say I need to go organize my chapter documents. That one, I'm going to go under Control Panel. The Control Panel then will show you the areas that you have access to. And you can find, I find that documents right under the website. In fact, this is probably one of the places that you'll stay. This is one of the tabs you'll be on the most because it'll get you to your chapters pages. It will get to the photo albums, the photos, documents, events. So if you're creating something or uploading something new, you do want to go under the Control Panel. I'm going to go right from website to documents, and I'm just going to click the word document. And that takes me down to the folder structure. And at this point in time, I can go to, for example, the newsletter folder, my chapters newsletter folder, or I can go to my chapters document folder. You wouldn't want, just clicking on it, it brings up a little menu, and I can view the documents. Make sure go to the one that oh, come on. There we go. Okay, so apparently this test ID is associated with members at large. And you will find I've got the add documents. So just adding a document, it lets me go out. It automatically tells me what folder I'm putting it in. It does ask for a title. I've got the select document. This will take me out to my computer, and I can select whatever document that I'm going to upload. I can also add subfolders. So if you want to organize your chapter documents, you can add subfolders. Folder name, it's going to be a subfolder of your chapters folder, and it will be available. Okay, so if I go out there and I just simply say, we'll say this is members at large. Use the one that came up. You know, if you had a folder that you needed to put election information in, you can say save, and now you have that elections folder. So you can create subfolders and put your documents in there. I can delete the subfolder. I can also, if I've got multiple subfolders, one of the choices I will get here is which way do I want, the order I want to see them in. Questions about that? Comments?
So,
questions?
Hillary, I'm just going to, this is Lisa, I'm going to comment. On both of those examples, there's a visibility item also. So if it's going into the chapter section.
So I can go in the edit folder. Yep, you're right. I should have made that members only.
And the same with the document as well.
Yes. Good catch. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah. And then Kristen Duggan says that she only has the edit feature, not the add. So, Kristen, I'm not sure when that popped up. So if you're talking about the folder or documents.
So it was when we were looking at the actual, like I'm looking at in the control panel under my chapter, and I went to go add like a subfolder, and it won't let me add a subfolder. It only has the edit folder feature. And then just now when she was showing if she added something, she could delete it. I don't have that function either, but it's probably because I also don't have the add feature. So like right there where we're pulling up, I don't have those 4 drop downs. I only have view, edit, and add subfolder.
Oh.
So I don't.
Me too. Same thing as her. This is Ellen.
Okay, so on the subfolder, were you able to create a subfolder off of your main chapter folder?
So I can do that, yes.
Okay. And then
okay, so
on the subfolder, you don't have a delete?
Correct.
Okay. We'll have to.
So you're correct. Yes, I was incorrect there. I can add on my chapter subfolder. I do have that function. I guess I was clicking on the wrong thing there. So I do have that function. But then I just found it interesting that I don't have the delete function. So anyway,
you won't have the delete. You won't have the delete function on your main chapter, but you should have the delete function on the one you just created.
Can I test it out really quick?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, I just needed to talk through that. I apologize. It works fine. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. The trick is just being at the right spot.
Yeah.
So your main chapter folder, yes, you don't have the ability to do anything with that other than to add the subfolder to it or view documents within it if there are documents. I do like the fact you'll notice that the structure does tell you if there's anything in there. So, if it says there's 4 documents there and you go hit view documents and nothing comes up other than that because I don't have access to that particular one, then that's a different issue. So I do like the fact that it tells you if there should be anything in there. Any other comments or questions? Okay. So again, you've got the chapter. So then, like I said, for newsletters, here we go. Make sure I go to the one that I believe I have access to. Oh, wait. Give me a second. I'm used to my own account here, so. Yes. So for newsletters, when you want to submit your newsletters, you do want to, you do want to access that one from the member documents folder. Because again, it's a public folder. And once you're on your folder, you should have that upload feature. And you can upload your newsletters. And I do recommend that newsletters are uploaded in a PDF format. And the reason for that is because you can actually click right on it and it opens up in the browser without actually having to physically download anything. But yeah, I do strongly recommend them being in a PDF format. But once you've uploaded it, notify us and let us know, and we will get that approved and out to the public. The same thing with your public documents. If you want anything that's available to the public, you would submit those through the member section, documents folder, and use the upload piece there. So public, always go to member section. If you're going into your own chapter's private folders, you can go through the control panel. Any comments or questions regarding that?
Hi, this is Michelle, and I just want to say that listening to you all, I was able to upload 2 documents to the Atlanta chapter website pretty easy. Thank you so much for the instructions.
Oh, not a problem. Glad you were able to do that. And the idea is we really want you guys not only to utilize the site, but we also want you to help us understand, is there anything that you'd like to do to utilize the site? And if we don't know how to do it, we will obviously reach out to Club Express to even find out if it's possible, and or maybe even put a suggestion in if it currently isn't. They're really good about taking those suggestions as well. Okay. The next thing I want to really kind of talk about is the communications piece. And I call it a communications piece simply because, and I know some people call it email, but being able to email out, but I really call it a communications tool because it allows us to communicate out to our members, but it does not have full-fledged email capability. So it's not like opening up your email at work and receiving emails. It strictly is a mass communication tool. One of the things that's recommended is if your chapter currently doesn't have a chapter email, you might want to think about, it's not necessary, but you might want to give thought to having a chapter email that you can then tie your communications to. My local chapter is the Ohio chapter, and we do have a Ohio chapter email, winupoh@gmail.com. So we just went out and got a free Gmail account. And that's where all the replies come into, and that type of thing. So we've got a couple people who kind of monitor that email. And you can do it on your phone because it's just a Gmail account, which is really nice. But it also gives us that return email on all of our mass communications. So first of all, let me go to the communications. And the communications is also accessed through the control panel. So from the control panel, I go to the communications tab, and I go to emailing. And the nice thing about the emailing, it does, one, it'll keep a copy, unless you delete it, it will keep a copy of all your past emails. So if you're like our chapter and we tend to use some of the same emails over and over again and just update them, you don't have to start from scratch each time. But I do want to start as if we are starting from scratch. So from the email administrator, I just go to add emailing. And what this does is it allows us then to query the membership database for either all of our active members or a particular subset based on a particular piece of criteria, which I'll show you in a minute. But once I go to that new emailing, I apologize for the pop-ups. I happen to be on my personal machine right now, so I apologize for my web pop-ups. But when I'm here, I have some Edit Basics. So this is the first place I start. Under Edit Basics, I will have, it automatically should categorize it as your particular chapter. And this will really help ease in kind of grouping them, especially if you need assistance with something and one of us come in as a system admin, we're able to go, oh, I just need to go to, in this case, member at large emails to see the one that they're having issues with. One of the first things I would do is it will default to your email. If you're the one logging in to create it, it will default for your email. So you do want to change this to whoever, either whoever is your main email recipient, or if you have a chapter email, this is where you would put in that chapter email address. So for example, typically on the Ohio ones, obviously I would change this to winupoh@gmail.com. And then you have the person's name. And in some cases, and this is a free this is kind of a free text. So a lot of times, for example, if we're doing one from our newsletter, we'll say the newsletter committee. Or if it's from the chair, we'll put the chair's name there and title. So, we'll just say something like website. Actually, what I probably should do is, if this was, something to that effect. It's whatever you want to put in there. You can leave it on send now, which means as soon as you push the send button, it goes. Or I can say on a particular date, and I can select a date in the future, and it will go first thing in the morning. So this doesn't give me a time, but it does let me pick a date, and then so I can pre-schedule something for first thing in the morning. And of course, I would want to put in a subject. Whatever you want the subject to be. And you can change, to plain text, but HTML is I think a lot prettier. You can add pictures and that type of stuff. You do have a couple of other options that you might find beneficial. For example, we can personalize emails. So there's using the build wizard, you can tell it to actually pull in the person's first name or last name or pieces of information. So you can do that if you want. You can track opens on the HTMLs, and you can set an urgency flag if you need to. Questions? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and save that one, save that piece. Next step I want to go to is this or the distribution list, what they call a distribution list. And I'll caution you in that it's not what most of us think of as a distribution list. It allows you to create basically a query off of the databases. Now, there's technically two databases. I know not everybody uses both of them. We all use what's called the member database, because that's where all of our members are. There's a few chapters that use that have some non-members that they communicate with, so there is a non-member database. But as chapter admins, you will have a series of what I call queries that are querying that database. So I can, for example, I can say all active members. That's going to be all my active members that are related to my chapter by default, because I'm coming in as being set as a chapter admin. It automatically recognizes what chapter you're part of. I can do it based on a join date. If there's a certain group that I want to hit just our new members for the last 3 months or something. So it's really just utilizing queries on our databases. Members in a specific state, that type of thing. Typically, you'll probably want to use where did you go? All active members. So once I have chosen the query that I want to use, I do want to click add, and that will add it to my list. So I can use a combination. For example, I have all active members, and if I am I can, select one particular member. from the database, and then go in and select that person's name. So for example, so I could go in and just type in somebody's last name and it would show up. That's within in that particular chapter. You are going to be picky, aren't you? So you can, there's also, where did I go? Where was it? It was, oh, there it is. If you do happen to have and are using that non-members database, you can go in, if you're sending it to everybody, you can add, what I wanted to show you is how you can add multiple groups there. Most times, this is the one you're going to be using on a regular basis. Comments, questions?
Hi, Hillary. I have a question. How is that non-member list put together?
It's actually a separate database, and it's one that we manage manually. Our chapter, that sounded like it was Glenna.
It was Glenna.
Our chapter, the Ohio chapter, utilizes it, and I think there's a couple other chapters who utilize it. So it's one that we have maintained in the past that was carried over.
Okay.
So,
and then,
go ahead.
Well, I've got a different question. Go ahead, finish that one.
So, really, so a lot of times when the Ohio chapter is sending out communications, they want to hit everybody. They will do the active members and then the non-members for that particular chapter for Ohio. And those are some of our sponsors and things like that who aren't technically members and paying dues.
Mm-hmm. So then another question is that drop down, the two?
This one?
Yeah, that drop down list, is that pretty much like a canned drop down list that all the chapters have available to them, or did?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. That answers my question.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So if I hit save on that, you'll notice that one goes to a green check, and now I'm actually ready to build my communications. Now I can build my communications from scratch, but I do want to point out that there are some templates out here for you to utilize if you so wish. For example, the chapter email is kind of a standard one that we have built that's got the logo already built into it. It's got some dividers. It's also got the fact that we're a not-for-profit, a 501c6 organization, as opposed to a non-profit organization. So it's got that statement there. But the nice thing about it is this middle section is where you guys can do pretty much what you want. It's just showing you a couple of different examples here. So over on the right, I've got different formats that I can utilize, different pieces and parts that I can utilize. And basically what you do is you just, whichever piece you want, you click it, you drag it over, you put it in the spot that you want it, and these can be moved around. So I can move them around. And then I'm able to, I will be able to add content into them. But the elements let me really create various formats to really try to make things as interesting as possible. We all get inundated with emails, so you do want to make things as interesting as possible. If I don't want a particular format, all I have to do is hit the little trash can and it will remove it from my email here. So I don't, hit cancel that one. I'll get rid of this one up here. Okay. To then edit these pieces, I just click the little pencil icon. And if it's a text window, it brings up a text editor. And this is really a WYSIWYG, so you basically can format things. See, and I can do bulleted items. So forth and so on. I can either use the tools to make things bigger, or I can actually use any of the pre-existing styles in there as well. And then just click Save. And that will show up in that particular window if it's a text editor, like these two are. If it's an image, it will ask me if I want to insert a photo or insert an image. And really it's really deciding if there are any photos in that photo gallery, if that's really what you want to access. So there happens to be a test one right there. Or if I'm inserting an image, there's all sorts of different images in there, or I can upload a new file if I've got something I needed to upload. So the photos will take me to the photo library that's already in Club Express. Images will let me either pick an existing image that's already been uploaded or upload a new image to a particular, to that particular location. Comments, questions so far? Once you've got an image in here, you'll notice it will let you make it bigger, or it will let you make it smaller, so you can adjust the size a little bit depending on your layout. In a layout, you do have also over here, so we talked about the Elements tab that lets you bring over the various types of elements. We talked about the template that let me bring over pre-existing templates if you want it. There's also the element style. So if I want to, for example, center that picture a little bit within that area, I can do that. Now, it doesn't always show real well in this editor, and I'll show you where it will show you, but that element will let me modify the existing content for that entire element. You'll notice in the editor, I can do it by word or whatever I've got selected. I can also do it by element as well. But any questions about building out the emails? And like I said, I've got a one-column text here, so I can also put in some additional, the actual article text or whatever I want to put in this area, and it will show up in that box. So it does kind of space things out a little bit. But then if I want to see what it looks like, there is a preview email, and it will give me an idea of what it would look like and how that's, the image is a little bit more centered in that column or that section, kind of lists out how the font and how the sizes look. But I will also suggest did I just close? I just closed it. Hit the wrong button, girls. And type this back in. Here we go. And go back to that email. The nice thing about it is it should have saved it for me. Even though I didn't. Yep. So even though I had not hit save at the bottom of it, it does automatically save it for you if you accidentally exit out, which is nice. So clicking the pencil at this point, I can go back in and see my information. So I showed you the preview, but what I do recommend is there is this test, send a test. And when you click the send test, it automatically will pick up your email, the person who logged in. You can also add additional emails. And the one thing I will warn you about is the email. I have found that I can put additional emails in here, but it really needs to be an email that's in the database. I have not had much luck with it sending just an outside email. So if I put like my email in there, I should get a copy of this at work as well, because that's the email that's associated with my personal account. But anyway, I do recommend sending that test in, really just seeing what it looks like when it comes through the systems and doing your tweaks off of that. But that does have that ability. And then you can really make sure that links work and those types of things. Comments, questions at this point. I was going to show you a couple of little formatting tricks that we've done, but any comments or questions at this point?
Hillary, you mentioned links, so I would maybe, if that was where you were going,
yeah, that's where I'm going. Yep, okay. I'm going to show them that. I just want to make sure there wasn't any other comments or questions. So a couple of things. One, when you're in the editor and you're typing out your article, you can do a link straight from the editor as well. And in this case, I want to go to an external and I can put in whatever the link is. I can do it as text, I can do it as a button, I can do it as an image. Usually if you're going to do an external page, I recommend that it opens up a new page. Some of the other link editors that you can do in here, if it's something within the site, you can also link to things within the site. So, for example, custom page. If there was one, if you had a particular page in there. So I could go to the member at large page if I wanted to and just build that link, and that link would take me right to the member at large landing page within the site. So there are tools within the site that you can utilize. Under build a module, you can go to a future event. You go to your events. You could go to, a particular document, that type of thing. Also, too, if I go to the document, that will actually let me, for example, if I wanted to go to, if there was a particular newsletter I wanted to link to, I could do that, or you always also have the link to just go to their main folder. Oh, yes, I know, I forgot to put in the text. So, also forgot to hit space. But anyway, so you can build a link within your text. You will also know that, you will also notice, save that, you will also notice there is a link button element that you can drag over. And so I could go into that same builder if I didn't want necessarily text around it or wanted it complete in a separate window. I could bring just that piece in as well and do the same thing. Use this to build the links to the different pieces within, to the email address. If I wanted to, so I can do the links in its own window as well. Comments, questions about the links? You will notice there is also a social media aspect or element. However, these social elements, and you can use them, I just want to let you know that these are already programmed for the international accounts. So if you have your own Facebook page that you want to add into your email, you would have to do that as a link. Use the link builder to build it, as opposed to using the social media, which is already pre-programmed to the international accounts. Since this is really an international site that we have pages on as chapters, we put in the suggestion. Don't know if Club Express will do anything with being able to have multiples in there, but right now these are already programmed to the international. So feel free to use those. If you want to use your own, you do need to use the link builder either in your text or using the link button element. Questions about that piece? Okay. So down here at the bottom, I have my save and continue, which will save my work and leave it open so that I can continue working. I have a save and close, which will save it and take me back to the email list. Still, you'll notice that it's in draft mode, so I can always come back in and make changes to it. You have a save as a template. So if you want to design your own template, you can. And again, it will then be found or utilized off this template tab. I already talked about the send this test. And then there's the ready for delivery. Regardless of whether I have left this set up here in the basics as send now or send on a particular date, the activation button will always be ready for delivery. And I hit ready for delivery, that status, which I won't do right now, but that status here where it says draft will turn into sitting in the queue or pending. Okay? So it's that ready for delivery button will either send it off, and there is a little bit of a delay, but not much, or it will put it in the queue to be sent on that particular date, in my case on Monday, the 30th, and it goes first thing in the morning. Comments, questions? From your list here, you do always have the ability to go in and delete a draft or delete items. I can preview this if I don't remember exactly what it was saying. I also can copy it, so that becomes real comes in handy, when you want to replicate an email that you have sent out and then just update it. So it copies it and puts it in draft, and then you can make whatever updates to it. If you do use the copy, I do recommend that you start with the edit basics and then move on to the distribution list, even if these are green, because it doesn't always copy what that original message was set up as. Sometimes it goes back to the original. For example, the edit basics, you'll notice if on a copy, it will go back to your address, even if in the original one you had changed it to somebody else. So I do recommend touching even the basics and the distribution list on a copy just to make sure it's still what you want it to be. You then have the results. Now, what's nice is the system will send that email, whatever email is sitting in that reply to or that from in that basics area. Club Express will send you an email and tell you how successful that message was. How many emails went out? How many had bad emails or were set up for no emails? And then I can go into the results. Since this is a draft, it doesn't give me one. It will show me who those, I can run reports to see who those bad emails are, as well as who may not have gotten the email because they have in their profile set to not receive any emails. We actually found a few of those who didn't realize that they had that set that way. So that little icon will let you go back into it to see who may not have received your message and why. But you do get a little summary report after you send an email. Comments, questions on that?
Hey, Hillary, this is Glenna again.
Yes.
Is that where you would also see how many people or who opened it?
Yes, if I had left that one, if I had used that option, yes.
And then I'm assuming you can go in there over time and those numbers would change.
Well, yes, if you've got that open and, more and more people are opening it, but yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? I do want to point out, if nobody's got any more questions about the email, one of the last things I wanted to point out with us, as I've only got a couple minutes here, is on the website, under the website tab, you have custom pages. And if you go in there to search, you probably see at least one. Some of you may start to see a couple additional pages as we're revamping some of the landing pages for the chapters. But this is how you can go in to make changes to your page if you need to. We will go into more detail about how to do that in one of our later sessions, but I wanted to let you know you can get in and see the information and make changes if you need to. I'm just going to cancel out of this for right now. If you need, until we get into running that training session, if you do need anything updated on your landing pages, don't hesitate to reach out to either myself or Lisa, and we will get the website committee working on that for you until we get a chance to actually run those training sessions. But I did want to point that out. Any other comments or questions regarding anything we've talked about today?
So, Hillary, why don't you just do a quick view of the Ohio chapter page, just so folks can see. All chapters have received an email from me, and we're working on getting the templates ready. But this is the look that the chapter pages are going to. So
I'm going to close my chat window here so that you guys can see it all. But yeah, so we're doing a little bit of tweaking, but this is basically what this is the format that everybody's going to be moving to. We've got a place that you can right off of your landing page. You will see upcoming events for like the next 30, 60 days. We've got an announcement area, and then everybody will have access to these 6 kind of areas. I know some of you don't necessarily need all of them, so we will have a little variation, but you do have the ability to have an about, which will take you to kind of your history, that information that's in the acorns and oaks. And then since these buttons up here, these menu choices across the top are fairly for that international interaction, these down the left-hand side will be for the local chapters interactions once we get them all set up. So you will have right off of your local chapters a way to go straight to your newsletters. You will have a place. Now this will show all events. Let me scroll back up. So this upcoming event will show all of them, but all chapters will also have the ability to have one that will take them to just their local events. It applies a filter, so in this case, only Ohio shows up. You've got a spot for the officers, if you so desire, as well as a spot for committees. And just trying to give some additional information. Everybody will have the ability to have a contact button for their local chapter, the newsletters, the documents. And here we do the differentiation between the public and the chapters documents. So, and again, to the Ohio photos, in this case, the Ohio events. So we're really trying to build up some of these templates for the rest of the chapter. So if you go into your custom pages, you will probably start to see some of those additional pages show up. And then we will do some training on how to actually edit them for your own content once we get them all set up. Questions, comments? I will put a plug in, guys. We're selling WiNUP luggage tags for everybody, so please see our sales for the WiNUP luggage tag from our chapter. But I know we're now over, so I don't want to. I know people have some hard stops. So again, I want to thank you guys. I will once I get this recording and get it cleaned up a little bit, I will get it posted out for everybody. But I do appreciate everybody coming in.
So one last thing, under this, so folks, people that need to go, but also in the website on the control panel, the last page or the last tab is support. So there are actually manuals from Club Express that will also provide some information for how to do certain, work in certain tabs. And then the website committee is working on changing them to where they actually are WiNUP. And, if there's anything that we need to make them WiNUP specific, we'll be going through and just maybe adding some additional information. But as a starting point, there are some manuals in the support tab.
Thanks for that reminder, Lisa. I'll make sure that I include that in the next session too, as a reminder.
I forget about it all the time.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. I will let you guys go.
Thanks, Hillary.
Thank you.
Thanks.